Hello. Just check the audio's on. Yes. Sorry about the false start there. Just some technical issues. I have a really fancy audio card and it started just copping out on me, so I've gone back to one that's worth about a quarter of the value, no, less than a quarter. Almost 700 quid. One's 30 quid on eBay. On who's giving me problems? The 700 quid one. Anyway, technical frustrations aside, welcome to the lesson. Some of you might not have, be looking at that term that I've put on the screen, this Harplike finger rules, and be a bit like, what does it mean? And some of you might be going, well, that's just finger rules, if you know what it is. It's a term really on the guitar, it's less common. There's people that do it, but in terms of tutorial materials, there's not so much there. Let me just sort out this focus. I think it's struggling with the contrast. So let me just put it on manual. Is it on the right camera? On one, manual. There we go, and that should hold it there, hopefully. So, what we're dealing with really here is kind of standard finger rolls, but we're playing up through maybe a scale and using open strings as we can. That's where some of you Dobroists were going, yeah, but we do it all the time. Some of you that are new to it might not understand that element. So let me just show you some standard finger roll type action and how it distinguishes itself. Well, yeah, let me set a shot up and I'll have a little improvisation over the top of it. I'll just swap this camera to the neck. You see a couple of different shots of that, and here we go. So I'll just play for it, improvise for a second over this backing track so you get the idea of what that is. Get rid of that. So a standard finger roll. Might help if I get it a little in tune. Those are kind of standard-ish finger rolls. That sort of idea. What we'll be dealing with is things like this. Okay. So where we're using maybe not a string that's the same as one of the open strings, a note that's not one of the strings, and ascending through scales like. So things like that I would call like this sort of harp style. You can do it anywhere where there's a transition point really. So here's a standard roll there. There's a sort of harp-like roll. So that gives you the idea of the style of it. What I'm going to do now is just swap this shot to a one of the introductory. So this is just going to be a quick lesson. Sorry, I should have said all this at the beginning. Do pop across to my Patreon account to have full access to further lessons as I'm producing them. I'm going to try and produce sort of short free versions of the lesson and then longer full examples on the Patreon account there. The virus is affecting us all and my gigs have dried up, and face-to-face lessons are not easily transferred, all of them, across to internet lessons. Right, so if I, with the benefit of this technology, see if I can change this 3 shots so that we now have now one of the camera's windows. Which one is it? I think that one. Nope, not that one. That one's going to stay there. That one is wrong. I thought camera 6 had that on it. Oh, I've not adequately prepared this laptop, the other laptop that's got materials on it. I just need to switch on an NDI screen share so that material will pop up on our screen. Great, there we go. So if I zoom in a bit more on that, I'm just going to keep this shot there and just see if we can't zoom in and around on that. Now that that's zoomed in, I should be able to just manipulate that into the box in the corner there. Okay, so this is from a larger sheet on the for the full lesson plan. We're just going to go through a couple of the examples on this. So this is part of a larger lesson going over some alternative pentatonics for dominant chords. So I've just got some examples here, largely of G9. Don't concern yourself too much with that. It's like G7, but it's got an A in it as well, so you'd spell it G-A-B-D-F. And that's the notes we'll be using. So in this example, there's really just 3 notes going up and down, okay? And we're using our index finger to start with on that D string, then our thumb on F, and then I've got the middle finger on G. And it's just coming up and down there, so you're going to get I, P, M, P. That thumb is going to stay on the F. You've only got the 3 notes, don't you? So if I put the backing track on, this isn't the actual backing track for the lesson plan, it's just another one that I knocked up that was still available that's in G. So this is a kind of reggae version of it. So halftime, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... yeah? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... And you can hear that sort of ringing quality like all rolls. 1 E and 2 E and it's at 120 the BPM for this one, so I'll just stick to the, my finger rolls aren't going to be up to speed for that, so we'll stick to this. There's halftime, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, now you can hear them ring like that. A good exercise for that is to try and make it sound all as dead notes. That will control both hands getting used to strings ringing. Okay, so there you can see this 3rd finger sticking out, and it's really sitting on those strings and allowing me to dampen those down. So that's an extra sort of characteristic to get used to. So some ringing, some damping, ringing, damping, ringing, dampened. Oops. So not everybody's hands are the same. If you look at my fingertips here, some people have far shorter 3rd fingers than their index finger, for instance. So not everybody's going to have the same advantages here. Luckily my 3rd finger is quite long. It doesn't take much for me to let it extend, especially if I've got a tilt on this hand. It's coming up the way, so I can't see it on that camera very easily. If I'm tilting, you can see that. That's me with flat on the fretboard across the strings. That's me with a tilt. When I'm doing that, it's easy to extend the finger across. But let's move on to the next example. Okay, this one is it's just the 1 bar repeated, so we don't really need to see the other bar there. Okay. So here we've just got our 5-note example. This is the pentatonic, this dominant pentatonic one. So we'll just go through that. We get the same beginning. We're still starting with the index finger. Index for D, thumb for F, middle finger for that G, thumb comes across to play A at the 7th fret. Now I've written A or I for this open B string there. You can easily use your ring finger if you use 3 fingers. I do this. No, most Dobros only use 2, so obviously you can use a variety of fingerings here. I've chosen to transcribe this one with bringing the index finger across, keeping the index and middle walking. Now some people will be happier just moving that middle finger across from the G string to the B string. So do alter the fingering as you feel comfortable. The appropriate point here is to be able to play it in time. So let's see if I can get through this. I actually started with the middle finger. I didn't do my example at all. And that worked out very well for having the middle finger come across to the B string. That's me using all three fingers. So that's it, just going up and down the scale really there. That's how that scale sounds. Let's just try some deadening with that. Slightly harder in that you've got to get across to the B string. So I'll just do it deadening at 8s. Ringing. So there's that example there. We'll just run through a couple more. Okay, that's the same example just as I'm actually playing it, because the original backing track was slower, so the 16ths would be faster. But that I'm already playing 16ths. The halftime is at 8s. Okay, so we've got to go on to our next page. Let me just sort this out and figure out where I am. Okay, so rather than this example here, rather than starting on the index finger on the open D string, we're starting with our thumb on F. Sorry about this camera light here, it's fading in and out, it's natural daylight. I do have a light on as well, but the camera is, you know, not adapting to the lighting conditions. The overhead one seems to be working well though. Okay, so in this case we're doing the same scale, but we're going up one note further, up to a D string. So we're starting on F, that's the backing track coming to an end. Okay, so we got 2 open strings at the top obviously. Now later on we might use this D fretted, like you might do in a roll. But right now for this exercise we've just got these top 2 strings ringing, whether you're using these fingers or these fingers. It should start up now. So I'll do it at half time. Okay, let's do that again. First time I did that there, I started with the open D string with an index finger. And so you can hear really, once you get a broader scale, this harp-like quality of everything ringing, but you're moving up and down a scale pattern. So this is all from a pentatonic, G9 pentatonic sound, but you can do it with others as well, just the normal scale or anything really, as long as it includes some open strings that fit in with that scale pattern. So I kept starting with the D string there. It starts with the thumb. I'm going to have to reach right over with this D string there, so I'm going to do it at 8s and practice my deadening, starting with the thumb. So I need to, on that one, this third finger just can't sit there and pull back, it's got to come down on that top string, off again, and then I'm into the rest of it. So I'll try that again. Doing too much bobbling there. So down. that technique there, a bit transitioning from dabbing the third finger up here to the back in there, so that wasn't very successful for me there. But we can hear the harp-like quality best on that one. Here we go. Okay, so moving on to the next example. So here we're going to go, going to get the tab in there as well. Yeah, just, there we go. So we can see there we're moving up one note again. We're starting on G, back to starting with the index finger. And then we're going to A, so the F is out of the picture now. We're starting on G, and we're going to go all the way up to this F here. Okay, so we're going to get these in the middle of the bar there. You can see that there's that pattern there. Now you'll notice that for the F, I've got my thumb coming across there. At faster tempos, walking the fingers like that, I find that I benefit far better from bringing in the thumb on one of them, so that I'm left-handed and my right hand is just never as dexterous as this hand is. When I'm playing the guitar, I always kind of feel this hand is I need far more attention with this hand to get it up to speed, whereas this hand feels great. So it's the same kind of problems here. I'm got the fastest walking tremolo in the world here. So I've transcribed it as bringing the thumb across for this F, and in the second bar the same F, which is really just an alternative. You can play the F up here depending on the pattern, but we'll go through that. So I'm going to be playing really just through the first bar. The second bar is an alternate. Okay, so we'll just look at the first bar first of all, and I'm going to stick to this IM version of it. Okay, and my thumb is going to come across onto that B string for the F, or that 6th fret on the B string. Okay, so my index finger is going to come across for that note there. I'm half telling myself there so that I work through the material correctly. So I'm going to start with the index, thumb, then index. So as I came across there, because it's slow, I was allowing myself to do that, and I want my thumb to come across there. So let's do that again. I want my index finger to come across there. Index, thumb, middle. Sorry, that should. I played the fret D because I'm not looking at the tab. I'm just looking at the instrument. Middle, thumb, middle, index, thumb. That was it. So place on that second bar where I've got the F up here on the 10th fret, that it's the same idea. I'm going to bring the thumb across for that, but it just allows there not being the kinetic confusion of the thumb coming across to the same string as the B. That feeling as you're moving around just needs adapted to for it to come across on beat 3 there. Whereas with this one, it's not going to have that same complexity. You can see the slide is just going between the 7th fret and the 11th fret there. Let's see, the music will start up again. Sorry, it was too early. insert E rather, as E is not a number. Okay, so here we're just extending it one note further up, as you can see the plan continues. Is my sync still in? Just enough. Slightly out. Okay. So here we're going, starting with there, the A. And I've just transcribed this all with I and M, this one. So it's the same deal with that F coming across here. It's not on beat 3 this time, it's on the and of 2. But it's coming across there, and then we're going to get this. You know, once I go beyond F, I don't have a high A string to ring above it. So this is the one point where you're following on from a fretted note where you have to fret another note. Okay, so it's going to come back. So you've got no open strings to ring with that particular example. Okay, so I'm starting in this time with my thumb. So I just missed out the B. Bringing the thumb across, thumb, messed it up. The B on the way down. So there's some examples. I'll just cut back to my shot. Just turn that off. So there's some examples of what I describe as like a harp-like rolls, where you're more moving through a scale pattern using the open string. So you get this cascading open string ringing sounds. So yeah, that's the harp-like quality. Same sort of techniques you can do on a normal guitar. In fact, on any stringed instrument like that, where you've got more than one, well, 3 strings really, then you can get things going up and down and making that ringing sound. I suppose you could do it with 2, but you've not got much motion there. 3 notes, maybe 1 below the transition point, open string, then 1 above the transition point, something like this. If I was to try and do that on, if I just cut to the overhead shot. What I was describing there is if I've just got 2 strings, say here, like here's D, that top string, and just get this cut in. Why is that not coming in? Oh, as I'm looking at the wrong shot. What one is that? So here's my open D string, and here's my open B string. If I played the C on the B string here, then played the open D string, and then maybe E there, then you've got one, like D is the transition point, the point on that string where it becomes the same as the next note. So you'd get... But both of these notes are short, so it doesn't have that harp ringing. The only ringing sound would be this one string. So as soon as you've got 3 strings, you've got a bit more ringing. So I'm going to play B, but rather than play C here, I'm going to play it there. Or if I do this the same example. Again, both of these are fretted, the C and the E. So if I start with open B string and have two open strings that I can use. You start to get these ringing sounds. The more you have different notes that need fretted, the more those notes obviously can't ring. Now, in this case, if I held the slide like that, as a just a barred slant, I could probably get something out of it. But yeah, I don't have that. I'd have to use a tilt elsewhere because I'd want B, Sorry, no, yeah, if I could do it elsewhere, because I'd want B, C, D, I've got that, but if I wanted, yeah, sorry, I can do that, C, E, C, D, E. So you could have it there. That ringing quality, as long as you're able to affect a ringing quality of whatever it is. But yeah, I think 3 strings is the closest to really get a ringing sound to it. So that was the kind of free sort of introduction that I wanted to do. These materials are all available through the Patron account, along with the backing track that actually comes with it is a lot slower, so the 16ths have got a bit more drive to them. So there's a bit more challenge in playing the 16ths across that, whereas that was a faster backing track, so the 8ths were a more medium tempo, but the 16ths would be, were either way, waffling away. It's different tempos. Yeah, so hopefully that was of interest and will be. So I'm just going to finish off by improvising there around this backing track, I think, and leave it at that. I hope you found this of interest. Please do check out the Patreon account. If you've enjoyed the lesson, please do drop me a quid or two on the Patreon account. Everyone's struggling here, I know, so I appreciate it if you can't afford. But if you can, that would be really helpful. Okie dokie. Oh, and do share, like and share. So I'll just cut back. Is my shot? Oh, my shot's all higgledy-piggledy, isn't it? So that the other way around. And 3 is there. Take that off. And we'll just put that camera back on the neck as well, so you get this couple of angles. Okay. Little reggae outro. Whittering away there, just not really feeling in the spirit of it, so I shall save you the listening to me not really being in the mode playing away there, and leave it for there. So I've said all my goodbyes already, so I'll just